All right. Let's get back to this part.
You know, flip side of that coin, maybe I saved you from a lot of unnecessary stuff along the way that's to come.
So 3 years ago, you do a deal where you give up 50% of the business.
Correct.
And you gave that business to what is the...
Okay, so we got proof there, 50%. I definitely still think it's 51%, but we'll say 50 because for 2Js to not have, 2Js would maybe it's 50-50, I don't know. But the fact is some sort of majority, like something has that, maybe it was the operating agreement, because there's an operating agreement that you can do when you do these type of partnerships as well. But something had to happen to the point where 2Js can't overstep and say, I am the majority owner. Everything you're saying, no, I am putting everything back in place now. That has to be the case.
The other entity
Surgeon Worldwide. So that's run by Dominic and Bimbo and Dominic.
All right, there we go. Salutes to Blake Wynn, man. 2Js meets the shoe surgeon in Dallas and Bimbo at SneakerCon. Let me see. Do I got Blake Wynn's number still? Yeah. Okay, so 2Js meets shoe surgeon in Dallas and Bimbo at SneakerCon.
Dallas and Bimbo and Dominic Jambroni.
You said 51%. That's what I'm saying. It had to be 51% for majority. He had to give up majority ownership here at this point. It just makes sense.
It's known as the shoe surgeon.
And can you say the terms of that deal?
Yeah, I thought I was walking into a 50-50 partnership to run this business.
50-50.
But my understanding now is that I removed myself from operations, even though I still had final say on locations and basically the creative side of the brand. And I held on to the liability of the business, and some of those liabilities have a personal liability, right? And, looking back, the first thing everybody says is, man, that's a horrible deal to sign. But I genuinely felt, with the conversations we were having and the work that had happened in the months leading up to me signing this contract, that, hey, who cares, right? Because if we're doing what I had been doing, which was running a business that, had some overhead and some debt, but it was all manageable debt, and anything that was a debt was paid, right? I just thought we were going to shoot to the moon. I genuinely thought we were going to shoot to the moon. I'm like, how do you not team up with the guy that's like the pillar and at the forefront of what the standard is for this side of this division of consumerism and customs and deconstructing, reconstructing, and then seeing their presentation with their product. I was just like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense for me, right? These are layers I want to add to the brand. This is what we're missing.
So, horrible contract to be signed, right? Horrible contract to be signed. No whatsoever, excuse for that. But I'm putting myself in his shoes, right? And I got my brother Jacob Starr here. And I'm maybe they don't have that type of relationship like me and Jacob, but maybe they have something similar. And if I was owning a business and I needed help and Jacob was willing to come in and we're doing 50-50, I wouldn't have an issue doing it. And if Jacob made the contract and sent it over to me with me and Jacob's relationship, I'm not finna I'm gonna read it, but I'm not gonna be super analyzing with it. And then if Jacob says, hey, listen, Tony, I'm coming in 50-50. This is your business still, but I'll come in as a partner, and I'm here to help and I'm here with 50%, but this is still your stuff. All the stuff I'm coming into, I don't want to be liable for this. I'm buying my way into your business, but I don't want the liability that comes with the businesses that I'm about to buy into. I just want to buy into it, own 50%. Whatever debt you had beforehand, that's on you to deal with, blah, 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 blah. Something like that of that nature. The debt, I don't know, but I may be a little bit easy on that contract because I'm like, man, Jacob Starr ain't going to do this to me. Jacob ain't going to fuck me over, and that's Jacob Starr. I've known Jacob for over 10 years. Let's do this shit. Fuck it. So I can see that. Doesn't mean that it's okay, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to put myself in that shoe. Exactly. See, Jacob said that. I don't think we're going to get lawyers and all that. The lawyers come after when the shit start hitting the fan and start not making sense.
Right. And to see it go how it went, it's...
Well, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Me and Jacob did do a small little business at one point. There was no fucking lawyers and so it's just, yeah.
You said people would have looked at the deal and said, this is not a good deal. And you said, in that time, I would have said, who cares? Right? What gave you so much confidence to say, I really want to do this deal? It's a wonderful deal. Obviously, partnering with someone who at the time was,
somebody I looked up to, and everything that I had looked at, I felt was good, clean, honest business. At the
Did
end
you
of the
guys
day-
need the money that they contributed to the business at the time?
I mean, you can never have enough money, especially when you're trying to expand. What was put into the business, I could have sold my personal shoes and put that money in there. We never asked for money. We asked for operational help because remember, the only reason I even went outside and entertained bringing anybody in this business that we had shown we could manage, we could handle, like no matter what was going on. Yes, the world changed.
This also, like, if you watch a lot of Shark Tank, I'm pretty sure some of y'all watch it, but this is like what goes on in Shark Tank all the time, where they go up there and they're asking for a percentage for people to pay. You know, Mark Cuban, whoever it is, like, yo, we got this business, we're looking for $300,000 for 30% equity. They want people to buy in, and obviously he wanted this guy to buy in. And depending on what it is, some of these businesses want operation help, some of these businesses want, marketing. Some of these people need more capital. Some of these businesses need more money just for production, like all sorts of things. So this business deal seems to be, they needed operation help, more operations. They needed more eyes in the operation area.
But we were handling it. What I couldn't handle was the 100+ trips that I was, essentially for the last 6 years, this is gonna be the first year that I have under 100 trips in a year, right? Obviously with everything that's going on. But I couldn't continue to travel the way that I was, being the ambassador that I needed to be for the brand and for my family, and also continue to sustain, the foot traffic and the staff, and handle all the consigners. It was just too much, right? And there was some business practices that, I'm sure I was a little rough around the edges and they needed some fine tuning and a different set of eyes. And I was at that point very open to some changes in the business, because if I didn't pivot, we were going to have real problems. And my problems weren't revenue. My problems weren't paying. It was just being able to keep it together.
You wanted to scale. Yeah. I remember you and I discussing around the time that you were doing this deal, one of the things that you kept bringing up in your desire to do this deal, and it was really actually a big catalyst in why you did the American Eagle deal shortly before this, is you wanted to be able to get new locations. Vegas was crushing, online was crushing, New York, you had the pop of American Eagle, but I remember you saying we're going to have this many locations by the end of this year, this many locations by the end of next year.
Man, I was very excited about potentially being able to, the whole thing with American Eagle that I wanted to do. What was very interesting to me was to turn their locations into drop-off centers and fulfillment centers for consigners. And so now when you have, time-sensitive, regional releases, you're cutting down your costs. You're looking like an Amazon model in a sense, right? That was the first thing. And then the other thing too, it wasn't about winning over existing consumers. It was about creating new ones and being able to be at the front of like this newfound like thing, which is sneakers. And, it's cool because like I was the guinea pig, and now there's other guys that are executing what I thought it could look like with a lot less layers and friction, right? And so, even when we're going back to this deal, the whole plan was to open more stores. My first 8 months of this, which, I mean, you see on my social media, I'm sitting here saying that I'm going on wild goose chases, but my first 8 months of this was essentially traveling the country, looking at all these different properties, talking to all these different malls about what it would look like, about us having these experiences, because on the back end of it, I'm being advised, hey, your business is worth this. We think we could raise that. And then if we're able to raise these things, then now we have all these additional layers, right? So, and at the end of the day.
So you do the deal. I want to slow you down.
Yeah.
You do the deal. And what is the next location that opens after you do the deal?
Well, halfway through negotiating the first deal, I reach out to my friends in Saudi because
Salute to Blake Wynn, man, by the way. I talked about this before, y'all, and maybe 2 days is going to bring this up in there, but when you do deals in Saudi, you have to partner with someone from Saudi Arabia. You cannot start up a business in Saudi Arabia without Saudi Arabia in person. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to, still be involved. So, if I wanted to open up sample in Saudi Arabia, I would need to find somebody that lives in Saudi Arabia and tell them, hey, I want to open up this business, and then they would need to create the business and open it up and then own equity. But at that point, it's almost like a franchisee where he might not even have any type of the store can operate on its own at that point. But that's how it usually works.
essentially since I started the brand. Well, since
Yeah, Mr. Perfect. I definitely think he trusted him. I think he trusted Shoe Surgeon. And Shoe Surgeon, you look back a couple of years, the man was killing it. Like, he definitely was killing it. He definitely was killing it. And it's almost them things like on paper, it looked like it would work. On paper, 2Js and Shoe Surgeon and UN, like that looks like it would work, That looked like the Lakers when they got Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and Shaq and Kobe, and they got their ass drugged by the Pistons, though, unfortunately, but it looked really good on paper. Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Metta World Peace, Dwight Howard, Paul Gasol. Y'all remember that lineup? Looked great on paper.
LV Supreme release, right? And Supreme Ramoa release. I meet these gentlemen from Saudi that are very dear friends that I look at as family. That you know, it went past buying stuff. It got to the point where it's like they're only coming to the store now just to interact with me and catch up with family and this and that. And from the very beginning, even when I was in that very first store, they asked me to open in Saudi, and I was like, guys, I barely know what I'm doing here, but you know, like I was asked so many times by this group that like one day I'm like, you know what? If I ever get close or if I feel like I can handle this layer, I'll reach out to you. And we're like maybe 60% of the deal through with Surgeon, and I'm like, guys, I think...
As in you're still negotiating,
correct.
Actually. You haven't actually done the
right.
deal. Okay.
And so I'm like, guys, I think that I'm pretty close to doing this deal that's going to give me the operational help that I need to be able to entertain and be what I would like to present or provide in Saudi. And so, you know, it happened. We did that deal before I even finished my deal with Surgeon. And we fell a little short on some of the execution stuff, and it wasn't for my lack of effort. It's just... things that were completely out of my control, and I think there was some misunderstandings on our side of, and I mean as a brand, I don't mean me or like pointing out a fan, completely as a brand, I think we underestimated some things looking back then. We didn't have realistic expectations of like, you know, when foreign business opens an American division of it to send money and then money gets held up, but then we're trying to procure product that I'm like begging to like not buy yet until the money's in the account, because you don't buy stuff when you don't have money for it yet, right? Like you got to make sure your ducks are in a row, and it just went south. And
the Saudi store went south.
The relationship went south. The Saudi guys have been great to me. I mean, we've been...
Is the store still there?
Store's been there now 3 years, but they're not operating with our help, right? I mean, I've been...
Is it part of the brand, or are they really...
It's a licensing deal.
They're just licensing it.
It's a licensing deal that, you know, the way the deal was structured, we were supposed to be providing them product, and we were getting, you know, like a cut of the providing, and they were supposed to cover some of the overhead of the appearances and the moving around of like staff, right? And, you know, it's bothered me, the 3 years of how we've been such a poor brother to this division of the brand.
Oh, so they opened the store in Saudi and they really haven't been like helping them or being a part of that at all. And this store was built off the relationship of 2Js, and now that 2Js gets taken out of it, it's like they were promised probably tons of things from 2Js. 2Js is now not being able to operate and move around, and it's like they done just pushed them off and ducked them off on the side. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that, brother.
To the point where, you know, I dropped everything I was doing and one day went and sat them down when they were all in LA and apologized for, you know, definitely reading the room wrong and putting them in a predicament that I can't help them as much as I ideally saw fit. And I've always been a person of principle, and I've said, I don't know where this goes. You should probably change the name. You know, I can't really help you much at this time, but if and when the time comes, like I want to take the steps to make this right, even if a singular dollar doesn't come back in my pocket, because I care about those people and that region more than I care about any dollar I could put in my pocket. And like to show that my relationship is still good with them, I was the one that brought the whole SneakerCon thing to Saudi and was able to put them in the room for them to break bread, and they made their bread, right? I didn't have my hand out in that part of it either. When
you say the deal with the Saudis sort of started going south, you guys were falling short on certain operational things, were you already terminated by the business at this point when you had this conversation?
No, but I was pretty close to it.
And you knew that?
I didn't know I was going to get fired. No, I don't think I saw that one on the... that wasn't on my notes at any point.
Okay, so you open Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. You have some issues there, but simultaneously, before those issues actually present themselves, you open Saudi Arabia, you complete the deal with
Correct.
Surgeon.
November 11, 2022, yeah.
And then shortly after that, you opened Del Amo? Was that the next
Yeah, so
move?
Saudi opens, I think, like January, February. I think Del Amo opened... we opened Crystals, right? We opened...
Oh, yes.
It was Crystals that was a pop-up that, again, one of the things I pointed out at the beginning of this is I have final say on location, and I'm scratching and clawing saying, I don't think this is a good idea.
Why?
I just...
Crystal's a beautiful mall.
No, it's an amazing mall that should have worked if we were able to provide the layers that it needed. We were never able to provide the layers that we needed, and we went... It was like... It's stuff that I wanted to add to the brand, you know, selling designer handbags and like exotic bags and like just creating an even more personalized experience that there's like VIP.
So okay, I remember this, and I mean I remember the AE deal he did with them, and then he's saying Crystals. Is that another mall in Vegas? I remember him opening up another store. The shops at Crystals. Okay, I remember this. I want to see if I can find some pictures of it.
IP rooms and all this stuff.
Vegas Ready, Urban Necessities, Crystal Shop. Because I remember this. Is I feel like, was it Wooden? Or nah, I don't remember. Like, but so this is the other one when they expanded. Okay, salutes to William. It's pretty nice though. It's a nice. It's more compact. Shit, it ain't compact. Actually, it's multiple rooms. This is like a damn like an LV store. I gotta watch out for the music, y'all. It is a nice store. They were saying how nice it is. I'm gonna get me one of these jackets one day, man. Get my bag up, man.
Other stuff. It's what I kind of try to do upstairs at Caesars, but my foot traffic was so overwhelming that I could never really dedicate the staff to just like closing a door and helping people behind that closed door, right? And providing this like above consumer expectation like experience. And it wasn't
it was an old LV Gucci store, I think. That's all of it. It was an old. Okay. So it was an old LV. Okay, that's all I was saying. It looked like an LV store.
I didn't think it could work. It was. I just knew what was in the bank account.
Hey,
and I just couldn't
smart,
justify.
Smart
in my
move to
opinion,
me. Smart
adding,
move.
separating the team because we weren't adding more employees. We were dividing it and then causing them to go back and forth between locations. For we got a store that's doing hundreds of transactions for something that you're only doing like in the teens. Right? On a good day, maybe 30 transactions, and your overhead is 2/3 of what your real overhead is. And I just, I could never articulate it in a way where anybody.
Did you sign off on that location?
I had no choice, right? Like I don't have operational say. I did not want that location. There's staff members that are there and not anymore.
But if, in your agreement, did you have final say?
My understanding, yes, I do have final say of locations. It got ignored.
So that was that then the first time that you felt like they breached the agreement?
It was one of the first. The second one was Del Amo.
Okay, I'm gonna reread these guys, and obviously I'm blocking it. So this is June, July 2023. 2Js realized that he has no operation authority yet. Still carries legal liability for the company after being reclassified as an employee. So we're about to learn about this. This is when everything started for the most part. Because I guess they're saying that he didn't want crystals. He didn't want to do the crystal store. Or he wanted to do it, but he wanted to do it a specific type of way. But I guess they still wanted him to do it, and he had to sign off on it. But however, he's the person that has say of where new locations should be at. So the fact that they made him sign off on it was weird.
Well, my understanding, yes, I do have final say of locations. It got ignored.
So that was that then the first time that you felt like they breached the agreement?
It was one of the first. The second one was Del Amo. I've always wanted something in California. We opened Saudi. Del Amo comes shortly after that, and I was.
So this is now early 2023, just to clarify on the timeline.
Very frustrated with the fact that we're even considering Del Amo because no disrespect to California or the state. I love a lot of my support personally for my brand are people that take the trek over and come this way. Makes a lot of sense because it's dead smack in the middle of LA, but didn't make any sense to me because the surrounding neighbors of the location. Then also there were existing brands in there that I didn't want to necessarily push out, but I just didn't want to create any, I didn't want to create any issues and be the bad.
All right, let's just look at it because we're just moving around. Salutes to TwoJsKicks. Salutes to the homie TwoJsKicks in the building. I don't know if TwoJsKicks is here, but
they finally opened out here. They've been open here for a while. The one in Vegas is crazy.
TwoJsKicks is actually the homie though. Like he be in the chat. So
and this one's pretty freaking huge. Look at this.
So it does look a lot like the other one too.
All right, let's go look around. Let's go look around and wow. All right, this is not a typical TwoJsKicks YouTube video because prices they're not great. They're not great. But you're paying for the convenience and you're paying for you trust these people because these are going for my size. They're going for like 1,100 or something like that. I didn't know they had gone up that much. Holy cow. Holy cow. And
so it looks like a little version of the Vegas store though.
On this side, Off-White Lot Dunks, all the Travises right there. Travis, it's got 6, it's got both. Damn it, I have that one. I wanted that one too. And all the Travises.
So you said it's a beat down mall? Like old?
Bad guy bully coming in and like pushing people out. And then also, who are we catering to? I have a store in Caesars. I have a store in Crystals and I have a store in Saudi, and now I'm creating a discount general, like a Dollar General iteration. It just didn't really it didn't.
That's what Pixel said. They're almost like a beat down, outdated mall. So he's saying he kind of devalued himself.
Makes sense, but what I'm being advised is it makes sense because it's in our backyard and we have our hands on it. We could run it from here, but same thing. I'm looking
back to what Jacob is saying. LA influencers, Shoe Surgeon wants something closer to him. Shoe Surgeon wanted to open up a store that was in LA or closer to him so where he could be over there doing his little dealings, could be potentially doing some bad stuff as well, as some people have speculated, and we've been hearing some bad things, but we could see where that happening.
at the bank account because I still have visibility on the bank account, even though I'm not the one controlling money, right? From November 11, 2022 forward, I never never created any bank wires. I never created any withdrawals like that weren't with supervision or an employee of Surgeon. Like, I never spent our money. I just kept saying, I don't think that's a good way to spend our money. And so now I have 2 stores that aren't generating the revenue that they're projecting the brand. And I'm sitting here trying my best to not have, express frustration, but I'm human and I'm very wet behind the ears with a lot of this stuff. And I'm like trying to express my frustration and why these things are going bad, suggesting that we close these stores. And we're just running it up more and more and more. And then so by September of 23, my concerns.
I want to slow you down really quick on Del Amo. Did you sign off on the location?
Not willingly. Again, there's text messages that I could scrape and conversations I could show you. I even had it in email, even though my email account is deleted. But there's people within the brand, past and present, that if you were to ask them and to tell the truth, they'll tell you my side of the story, which is I didn't want any parts of this, right? And so, I've been doing retail like my whole life. I know malls like the back of my hand. Like I could tell if a location got it or doesn't. And like I people watch, I understand that I could read the room in that sense better than most.
Del Amo had a moment where it really hit the news that everybody wants to know about, which is the Yeezy Gap clothing situation.
What a frustrate. That wasn't Del Amo. That was done at their facility at the time. I don't know how much of this I can or can't talk, but we're here, right? So I'm approached by somebody that says, hey, I have access to, containers worth. Containers. Not 1, not 2, not 3, like a lot of Yeezy
shipping containers.
Correct. And I'm like, well, help me understand how you have access to this. And the explanation to us is that this stuff is part of a deal that.
Okay, hold on. Let me get that back. Salutes to John Guapo and Andrew. Dallas Mbembo was the guy that we saw in the video when he was with his phone. When he walked in and he was like, when the security was blocking the door and he opened the door and walked in. I think that's Dallas Mbembo right there. He had on camera. He was like, if you want to come help us, whatever.
I'm like, well, help me understand how.
All right. So right here it says in the last few months, dozens of Urban Necessities alleged on social media that a popular sneaker consignment shop has failed to issue payments for items sold. As the frustration amongst sellers grows, many are pointing to Urban Necessities founder TwoJsKicks, aka 2Js.
How you have access to not 3, like a lot of Yeezy
shipping
products.
Containers.
Correct.
Okay,
so
hold on.
I'm approached by somebody that says, hey, I have access to, containers worth. Containers. Not 1, not 2, not 3, like a lot of Yeezy
shipping
products.
Containers.
Correct. And I'm like, well, help me understand how you have access to this. And the explanation to us is that this stuff is part of a deal that,
2Js posted a 14-minute video on his Instagram account giving his perspective on the issues the shop is currently facing, including his wife being diagnosed with cancer and taking on sneaker customizer Dominic Shoe Surgeon.
He signed that was like his allocation of this product. And it was sitting in storage units that
2J says that in early 2022, his wife was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, which shifted his attention away from the
storage facility that he stopped paying for. And the person that owned it had the right to.
After a few months had passed, he met the surgeon and his business partners at SneakerCon, where they began to discuss Urban Necessities to assist with operations due to the growing concerns about his wife's health.
Ownership of this product at this point. I'm provided bill of ladings. I'm provided the documents to say I feel comfortable.
According to 2Js, a deal was signed towards the end of that year, and he later realized he had no say in the company after the agreement, while still being held liable for any outstanding balances and issues with the business.
We're presenting this to my partners. So I'm like, hey, I got this unique deal where I got a guy that's down to buy this product if we sell it.
He then says that he asked for a buyout from the company and was offered a deal in early 2023, but the surgeon and his partners never signed a contract for his buyout.
Form, and this is the split, right? Very fair split, and allowing us to keep the price points at under what the original retail is going to be for this product. My suggestion, which was completely ignored, and was something that they did very out of character, was I suggested that it should be show a handful of SKUs, create first come, first serve for 3 different locations, right? Advise that you have these items available, not in its quantity, and then now you could do this kind of discreetly, right? Because there's a style and grace in doing, like, I don't want to say it's dishonest business, but like this is technically product that
LAPD ended up investigating.
They did investigate, and my brand did spend money on lawyers for this.
Okay, and forgive me, I don't know if y'all we need a whoop whoop back, but maybe not. But he's explaining the situation that happened at Gap with Adidas and Shoe Surgeon, I think, right, or something. Wasn't that like with Yeezy and something happened? They shut it down, but he's basically saying that there was a container and the container was taken by someone else and that they were willing to buy it and split it. He's bringing it all down. I don't know if y'all want to hear about that, but that happened back when they were doing business together, when 2J was pretty heavily involved too.
And what they did was, instead of like going the direction that I said, which is show 1, not millions, right? You do something very out of character for yourself and sit on top of a bunch of containers and then show that you have all these containers, and then you're trying to create this activation at your facility that isn't capable of handling this type of activation. And I was very concerned for safety. I was very concerned for visibility. And long story short, another part of the bad business dealings on my brand's part, that again I had no visibility. The police went, they didn't take anything. The police, Dove made a big scene, advised that we were stealing, but he didn't even have an understanding of how the items were acquired. And yeah, it made a lot of noise and people assumed that we stole it, but we weren't fined, we weren't charged, we weren't anything as a brand, right? They're asking for the stuff back because they're like, man, this is a little too volatile, but my brand is liquidating this product behind the doors while we're being asked to take it. And now when we're providing product back, obviously there's some discrepancies, and it took months to the point where I'm not even there anymore, right?
What was the date you got fired?
May 24, I believe May 2nd, 2024. I could be wrong on that date, but I have it in screenshot. I could show you my last paycheck. Haven't been paid since May 24, right?
So now you open up Saudi, there's a little bit of issues, but the Saudis are funding that.
Salutes to everybody. H. Martinez, the founder of American Apparel. Dov was yelling the street was stolen product. Yeah, so I remember that little video as well. First and foremost, guys, $323 is in the building right now. 323 is in the building. Can we get the likes up? We're at 147. I'd like to get to 200. Let's just give them up. I'm not going to force you guys to do it, but let's get the likes up to 200 if we can, all right? If you guys love the live streams that we've been doing, this is a new part of the channel. We're going to be continuing going live more and more. So if you don't even want to hit the like, at least hit the post notification bell, because that will keep you locked in. So when I'm going live, you know when I'm going live, okay? Beardtopia in the building was good. John Guapo in the building was good. But yeah, we're going to be going live more and more. We're going to be doing more of these type of live stream podcasts. We're going to be doing more of these IRL stuff. Tons of new and live content coming to this channel. And we've been going live. Last week we went live a lot. This week we kind of took a break because of what happened with, family stuff with Chunky, RIP. But with that said, we're going to be going live more and more. So I would love for y'all to be locked in with the post notification bell, hitting the like button, and if you got a little bit of a bag or something on you, become a member to the 2Wild family. We got the badges on deck. We got the emotes on deck. Become a member. It's fairly easy. Just click the join button and join up and become a member to the 2Wild family. Or if you want, drop a little bit of super chat off, $1.99.99, whatever you want to do. Drop some donos off because the donations help continuing on the stream, because streaming ain't easy, man. They don't pay the same as videos, but I do want to do more live stream with y'all. So sometimes you got to take that sacrifice. With that said, let's continue on.
You open up the Lambo. You guys are funding that. There's issues with that. Take the Yeezy Gap situation aside. At this point, have you guys started really accumulating debts that you were going to start to have trouble with, or was the business still in a point where it maybe didn't have a lot of money in the bank, but the debts were under control?
I want to assume, because again, I'm not getting full visibility.
All right, so Urban Necessity revises its consignment agreements and other operational policies.
Right, I'm on calls. I'm hearing operational stuff, not dollar stuff. I'm on these calls. I'm making suggestions. I'm advised to stop talking on the calls, to take notes, to address them. And then the narrative on the other side to my staff is, he doesn't even want to be on these calls. He don't even want to interact with you. And the same thing's being told. I can't answer that honestly, because for 12 years of this, almost 12 years of existence of this brand, I never was the one that handled the money. I never looked at the money. Even when me and Joni ran it, hey, Joni, can I spend this? Yes or no? Joni, can I buy this? Yes or no? And then if it was, we could, but it could create this, well, then we sat down and had the conversations to figure out, are we doing this? Are we sacrificing? Are we stretching? Are we pushing? Or are we just leaving it, whatever the outcome was? There was conversation that I was involved in. It's not involved in any of that. So I can't honestly answer that outside of, you now have responsibility for 2 additional payrolls, 2 additional rents, and all the additional logistics, which between that basically is about the same cost of the store. So now you're double spending my money, and all you've done is just created more slices of pizza, not made more pizza.
At any point during this process, despite that you didn't agree with it, was there ever a time where your partners came to you and said, we feel like we need to take a loan out for X amount, and therefore will you sign off on it?
No.
Because you did still own 50% of the business.
Correct.
So even though they maybe had control over it, you'd probably assume that you'd have some level of
Well, I would hope I would know if you're signing off on my brand or my name, or or even if it's not my name but it's part of my brand, that I would know you took a loan, right? Or we're trying to get money. I get phone calls all the day that, hey, we see that you're trying to ask for a loan. Even now, I'm still getting those calls. I'm like, buddy, I don't run a business. I don't know why. I've never taken a loan in my life outside of car loans.
Walk me through the conversation and the events that got you fired in
September 23. I'm very frustrated. None of it feels good. I opened Delamo, and the one thing I remember about Delamo is there was some product that we were like discounting to kind of be like, you know, doorbusters or whatever, right? And
is Delamo still open?
I don't believe it is.
Okay.
And
let me see, is Delamo still open? Damn, bro, it's got a 2.9 rating. It says it's open. Let's see. Staff stealing from the owner here 4 months ago. God damn. Drove 47 minutes to get here and we're closed at 6:05. Listed hours say they're open till 7 p.m. Staff was in there turning off the lights. They be taxing inside. Found Supreme shirt for $150 online was $50. Stay away, do your favor. It's closed. I'm about to call it. Wait, I got you said I did get 5 donos, but I got 5 donos, but it didn't count it because the timer went out. Okay, all right, I'm gonna crack my beer open. We're gonna run another one, but I'm gonna crack my beer. All right, I gotta crack a beer open. Let's keep going. All right. Thank you. I was wondering, Shy, because I was like, it still said 2, but I'm like, why did it say 2? Because I swear it was more than 2, but all right, now I get it.
We're like always, right? I don't want to say you're micromanaging. We're short on staff. We overlooked some layers as a brand as far as activation. I wasn't out there as much as ideally wanted to, but again, I don't have really a say. So like anything you're getting from me is a plus. I'm changing prices. Dallas is not thrilled about the price points that I'm trying to put this stuff at.
You're trying to increase the price points.
I'm trying to decrease.
Oh, you're trying to decrease it.
Decrease the price points because one thing I think that nobody will really disagree with is up until that point, I know sneakers, right? And where they should be priced at. I get screamed at top of the lungs. I'll never forget this. I get screamed at top of the lungs in front of my entire new staff that I just 5 minutes before getting screamed and yelled at, I was expressing gratitude and being thankful, even though I didn't want to open that store. You guys are front line for me. You're trusting in my brand to be able to provide for you, and I'm trusting that you're going to provide for us, right? I'm extremely appreciative of them. And I felt like the little chihuahua that was getting yelled at by its master, in a sense. It was a real tuck and tail moment for me that I wasn't used to. And I was like, hey, I'd like to take this conversation and discuss it elsewhere. And I tried to open the door because we were 5 minutes late to opening the door. I'll never forget that. And that didn't feel good at all.
What was the reason he was yelling at you?
The prices.
It was over the prices.
Yeah, it was over the prices and where I wanted. We were already late. There was product that wasn't entered into the system. He was still trying to open. I wanted to recognize, the 20 or 30 people that were outside that were putting in time, energy, and effort to stand in front of, this first interaction. And it was rough, man. And after that, there was a couple other moments that by November, I'm like, look, none of this feels good to me. I understand that it's completely shifted. And the narrative is now, Jay, don't go in the store. Don't move anything. Anything that you're suggesting takes away from the operational process that we have, and you're adding more. And now the staff doesn't know what to think. But now, as staff is disconnected, fired, let go, or seeing what's going on social media, they're reaching out to me and saying, man, the whole time we were there, they were just telling us you didn't want to be a part of this and that you hated all of it and that you hated all of us. But they made us sign NDAs and this and that. And like, I see what you're going through and I'm really sorry, right? I can't do anything with that. But it's very frustrating that something that I've cared about so much has been turned like that. So in November, I started addressing my concerns, November of 23, December of 23, right before Christmas, right? There is acknowledgement on the other side that in October of 23, my business was worth $20 million. And that based off of that, I own half. And
So hold on, I just want to make sure y'all read it because I'm blocking it. November 2023, 2J's asked to be bought out from UN due to the here's English fucking with me. The thing is with me, I know the words, but like sometimes my mouth just don't want to say it. Irreconcilable, right? Irreconcilable. Meaning they had differences, yes. And contract breaches. God damn.
Right before Christmas, right? There is acknowledgement on the other side that in October of 23, my business was worth $20 million. And that based off of that, I own half. And my entire response to them is, I have absolutely no interest in getting half. of the value of the business. Because if I take half, given with the things that you've done over the last couple of years, there's no way that this business succeeds. I need it to work even better without me than when it was with me. Because for me, the way I'm looking at it, I can't sit still. I still want to try to help. I still want to try to create impact or, shift, right? And so I had a text message. It's like, look, man, I want to try to get you what you want. I want to try to help you. Let's do this without lawyers.
You told them you wanted out.
I wanted out. And by then I had already talked to lawyers and we had pointed out some breaches in contracts.
Which were what? Yeah.
One of them was that Joni and I were managing members. So when you create a business, you have to report to the state who the managing parties are. Those are the people that are responsible for essentially all of it. So when we sold 50%, Joni relinquished her 50%. At that point, she's supposed to be relieved as a managing member. There was a date on the contract that they needed to do that by. They didn't. Another one of the breaches was that I had final say on the locations. Well, you just opened up 2 that I told you not to. There's that, right? And a bunch of other smaller ones, but those are the 2 main ones. And so now you fire me, 5 6 months later. You're kind of supposed to report that to the state, to the government. And so were there debts before they came in?
So in the eyes of the government, you and Joni are managing members. In the eyes of the contract, you guys have no operational control.
Correct.
And also in the eyes of the government, one of the managing members of this LLC or S corp or how you guys set up? Do you even know?
We were set up in the way that, even for the first year, 2 years of this, Joni and I were still responsible for the taxes for the sales. The sales tax, my personal tax and Joni's personal taxes were still attached to the business.
That means it's an LLC. It was a multi-member
Correct.
LLC.
So that was supposed to be changed. That was another one of the breaches of the contract. They had till December 31st of that first year to do that. They never did it. It took me a year to catch that. I then go to a lawyer. I spend money up until the point where, the lawyer's like, look, man, you're going to keep spending money here, and by the time you collect $1, there's not going to be $1 to collect. I would suggest you're at their mercy. You're at their mercy here with this. Find a different way.
Well, that's interesting advice to get from a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just hearing this and I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, if in the eyes of the government, you two own the business and there's a piece of paper that says otherwise and says that these guys own 50%, but the government says that and they don't want to change that, one of those things has to trump the other.
Right. I'm supposed to be able to go back into the business and run it over and kick them out, and which actually is in the contract that states that I should be able to take ownership and not have to replenish anything that they put into the brand. But it's complete anarchy over there. No one's listening to me, and it's just me, right? I'm trying to get these lawyers to move on it. We're not moving.
And it's got to be hard because you now at this point have no income. People who at home listening who might not know this, I mean, if you're going to have a lawyer who's going to interfere with mergers, acquisitions, business lawsuits of this scale, these people can easily be $600, $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, that's what it's been.
And this is probably, when everything's all said and done, hundreds and hundreds, if not maybe even thousands of hours. So you're talking about legal bills that can easily get into 6 figures.
Yeah.
With that in mind, at what point did Joni get sick?
Joni was sick before we even started.
She was sick before the surgeon did even started.
That was the whole reason why I even entertained any of this.
And those those medical bills, do you feel comfortable saying how high can those get? Are those seven figures?
7 figures. I mean, if we didn't have insurance, this is 7-figure stuff. We're paying, thousands of dollars a month to be able to have insurance that takes on the majority of it, but there's still liability for us on these on those. And throughout all this, I'm not even talking about what I've gone through three to five, I think 5 surgeries in the same amount of time. So we were going through it.
So medically, you're spending 6 figures a year. You have no income because you've been fired. So, because I think one of the glaring questions everybody has is, okay, so they violated these contracts in these ways based on what you're saying. By the way, I'm a host here, right? They violated the contracts in this way from what you're saying. Everybody's question is, well, why didn't you go after them? Why didn't you sue them? I'm trying to make people understand, because I know this about you personally, that you're in a spot where you have no income. You have 6 figures to spend on your wife who's got, serious cancer. You've got 6 figures medical bills to spend on yourself as you go through 5 surgeries over the last 24 months, and you have no income. And so it's not as easy as just, okay, I'll just do that, because
there's not only that, but you're still trying to negotiate an out, right? So like I said, in December 23, they're sitting here telling me, look, I got to get you this money.
May 2nd, 2024, UN terminates 2J's employment, preventing visibility on the brand, company, email deleted. Now, it says that here, but obviously he just said December 2023, so we haven't gotten to that yet, but yeah.
I'm going to give you this money. I got to do what's right here. There was a time where they're telling me, at least Dom is telling me, we got to do what's right. But then I'm getting, at the same time, while Dom is telling me we got to do this is right, and we agree. I'm like, look, business is worth 10. 20 in October. You tried to do a raise. I ask you for pitch decks that you don't give me, but I find 3 dear friends that are athletes that, will also corroborate my story, that I was like, hey, we're trying to raise this money. And I'll give you an example. Marshawn Lynch was one of them. Dallas and Marshawn Lynch were at my birthday party that year. And we were talking about how we were about to do this raise and yada, yada, yada. And this was the number we were trying to raise. Marshawn was trying to give us the entire dollar amount. Never saw a pitch deck.
They never raised the money.
We never raised the money. We never raised the money, right? So in December of 23, I get a text message that says, and again, I'm making this very abundantly clear. I said, I want the business to succeed. I don't need the money up front. I just want to make sure that my wife is repaid a loan that she let you borrow that I was very against, but she felt compelled to do. And I was only going to get 500,000 the day that I signed that paperwork up front, and then there was going to
Okay. And I was questioning and curious about this. I was very curious about this. The loan, and this is what I'm getting from it. The loan that they're talking about was a $300,000 loan. Now, let's just, y'all tell me, but let's do this together.
be felt compelled to do, and make sure that my wife is repaid, a loan that she let you borrow that I was very against, but she felt compelled to do, and I was only going to get 500,000 the day that I signed that.
All right, so y'all heard that, right? Let's just see if this is the same thing.
Man, oh man. Wife this, your wife that. Fucking right I am. Address some of the ones that send people shit. I mean, has supported
Nah,
that paperwork up front.
I just want to let y'all know, because maybe, and this is me doing a lot, but I want to see if this is the same thing. Basically, he had mentioned that his wife gave $300,000 for inventory and that he didn't want to do it, but that Joni wanted to do it because she felt like it was the right thing to do for the business or something like that. I mean, we could probably skip it if it's going to be take too long to kind of break it down, honestly. But I do want to see if I have it. Let me see. My internet's acting stupid, so maybe it doesn't want me to do it. But let me see. Okay. Just put it here. It was this video.
All right, guys. I know that one of the last posts that you guys saw from me was me acknowledging some of the concerns that you guys have done a great job of addressing over social media, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys that has.
Yeah, I do think that is wild. We're going to show that. I'm going to find that loan. I'm going to let this play, and then I'm going to download it, and I'm going to find it, because it's really in the beginning. It wasn't that far, but I want y'all to hear what that was about so y'all can at least know.
It's either sent it to me in a DM, a text, called me about this, and let me know some of the concerns.
Okay, so here's that part right here.
2022, as you guys may or may not know, my wife is diagnosed.
I'm going to skip to it.
He's still battling with in its first. I go to a sneaker concerns and her health issues. Say in this business, and the one thing that I also accepted in this contract, which falls on me, is the liability of money that I gave all to Joni, and that money was used to pay some of our taxes. And we bought a couple of happened at that particular moment was Joni should have been removed as a managing member.
Right there, here it is. So this is the $300,000 loan he's talking about that Joni needed to be paid back on.
And should have happened at that particular moment was Joni should have been removed as a managing member, and she was not. May of 23, Joni allows Urban Necessities and Surgeon Worldwide to borrow $300,000 for a buy that was used towards product that needed to go for the store, as well as some of our licensing deals that we were doing abroad. I was very adamant that I thought it was not a good idea, and I did not want to see that money spent in that way. And Joni's reply was, I'm just trying to help. We agreed on some of this money being repaid in a timely manner. We are currently still not repaid for that debt.
So that's what he's talking about. Now, when I heard him say that, though, just calling it down the middle, guys, we got to break it down. The inventory that seems that they're talking about is inventory that was utilized for the newer stores. One in particular, he said, out of the country licensing. So that means that the $300,000 must have been utilized for the stores in Saudi Arabia and maybe that the Loma city or the Crystal, whatever. It seems like that was where some of that money was being utilized. 2Js did say, though, in this video earlier that he really wished he would have helped out the Saudi Arabia store more and had helped them and been a part of it. So I'm curious why then that would have been a bad deal. You know, maybe he was cool with the 300,000 portion of that, whatever the portion for the Saudi Arabia store was good, but he didn't like some of the other. Maybe he didn't like the whole thing as a whole. But it did seem like it was going towards one of the things that he did care about in this video, which was the Saudi Arabia licensing in the store itself. So I don't know. But that is what that is about. And they saying that she hasn't been paid back for that, which is wild.
And then there was going to be, it was a $4.5 million deal plus an additional 300 as a repayment and my product. And some of my personal items I had to sacrifice in this deal, like pinball machines and all this other, like at this point it's irrelevant, right? So I signed that and I wait and I wait and I wait.
You signed a deal to sell your
correct
portion of Urban Necessities.
So I signed
also before you were fired.
Correct.
Nigga, we're signing that shit in person. You sending me that contract, 4.5 million? You send me that contract means you good. Not even you sign me. Nah, nigga, send me that bitch signed. Don't send me it unsigned. You send me it signed, and I'm signing. I'ma sign it and send it back to you with a screenshot, or I'm pulling up to the store and this is gonna be printed, nigga, with a I need a no-rider or no-righty. 4.5 mil? I need you there now.
So I wait and I wait and I wait. Nothing gets signed, right?
They don't countersign it.
Correct.
They send you an agreement to sign. They don't countersign
Correct.
it.
So, and keep in mind, it's their verbiage. It's their contract. It's not like I went to my lawyer and said, hey, write this up. Okay, I signed it. Let me send it to them. No, this is what they're offering me to walk away, right? It goes from, hey, look, man, actually, we can't pay that. We'll give you 3. We'll shorten the non-compete because at this time, non-competes still matter, right? It goes from 3 million. And then I'm like, all right, cool, send it over. At first, I'm not thrilled. I'm like, dude, you're taking another $1.5 million off of me, and I'm only saving like a year here. It's like I could generate that $1.5 million if I, like whatever. All right, so sign it. I want to sign it. I don't see anything. Then it goes to $1 million.
Notary,
well,
yeah,
obviously now I'm very frustrated.
My bad.
Right?
Notary.
You just took another $3.5 million, and the only thing I'm trying to do
notary, man. See, I'm saying English can mess me up, man. Notary.
is put my wife's money back in. Like, I care more about my wife's money than my whatever money's coming to me, right? It goes from $1 million to $500,000 in product, but the $500,000 in product that they're trying to pay me with is product that they've taken out of my personal consignment account, my 2J's consignment account, out of an account that they deleted, and that they just basically put in boxes and let sit there for months and months.
Okay, because I remember him talking about this I remember him talking about this earlier. Let me hear that again.
But the $500,000 in money's coming to me. The only thing I'm trying to do $1 million. Like whatever. All right, so sign it. I want to sign it. I don't see anything. Then it goes to $1 million. Well, obviously now I'm very frustrated, right? You just took another $3.5 million, and the only thing I'm trying to do is put my wife's money back in. Like, I care more about my wife's money than my whatever money's coming to me, right? It goes from $1 million to $500,000 in product, but
so it goes from $1 million to $500,000 in product. However, the $500,000 in product is product that was already his. So 2J's, obviously being himself 2J's, he owns the company UN, but he also got his personal collection inside of UN that he's selling as well. Once they want to split ways and terminate him and all this and that, he said that they removed him as a, emails and all that, but they also removed him as a consigner. They're trying to say, hey, man, we'll just give you your shit back. And it's like, how you going to pay me in product that's mine already as a consigner? It's crazy.
the $500,000 in product that they're trying to pay me with is product that they've taken out of my personal consignment account, my 2J's consignment account, out of an account that they deleted, and that they just basically put in boxes and let sit there for months and months and months. And I'm sitting here periodically going to the store saying, hey, is this my stuff? To staff. We think it is. And I finally got it. Yes, it is your stuff. It is your stuff. And I'm now freaking out because my personal accounts are depleted. I'm not trying to really work. I'm also being told we're not going to bother you if you start something new. So you should probably go start something new. But I'm also hot and cold because I have, with the money that we got from them, I had to pay the taxes that are not only my.
You did get money from them.
Yeah, we got a supposed $2 million that, again, we had to pay them $300,000 back. And then.
Who gave you $2 million?
Surgeon. They gave my wife $2 million.
That was to buy the 50% of the business in the
Correct.
beginning.
Which was significantly less than any other deal that I had on the table because it wasn't about money. It was about operational help because, again, I have a business that just needed help. It didn't need money at that time. Not $2 million changes nothing in the sense of this business.
But they did send you that money.
They sent it to Joni, yes. So, okay, they asked almost instantly back for $300K back, right? So to borrow to be able to buy product that, again, I told them, don't buy. They get the $300.
Joni agreed to do the.
Joni agreed to do it, which.
Against your advice.
Correct. $400,000 goes towards taxes because, again.
Yeah, it was income to you. Sure.
Income to us and income, like the income from the business, right? So
well, it's one and the same when you have a multi-member LLC for everyone listening. Correct. The way taxes work in multi-member LLCs, whatever money you make, it flows through to you and then you pay taxes on that. You are looked at, the business entity is looked at as an extension of yourself.
Correct. Which was supposed to be changed. Right. When the initial deal happened, and I paid 2 additional years of taxes on a business that I shouldn't have been paying taxes on, right? And I'm itemizing where the money went. $750,000 of that went to buying 2 different properties. right? So we're now living. I bought 2 other properties to move family members.
That's
out.
how you spent your money that
Correct.
you got. That's fine. Because it wasn't an investment in the business.
Correct.
You were selling. So
Correct.
it's
But I'm just explaining because people are
it's
going to be
your
like,
family.
where's the money?
Yeah, it's your family's money.
I bought 2 houses that are in like Joni's name because I want Joni to be good, especially what's going on.
And it was her money, actually.
Correct.
Because you kept your 50%. She actually sold her 50%.
Correct. So buy 2 houses, we move family members in there. And ironically enough, here I am in a scenario where we're now listing the houses and are going to have to use that for whatever taxes, liabilities, or lawyers along the way. And the additional, couple $100,000 left is what's been funding essentially
The medical bills
the
and
medical
everything
bills and the liabilities. Like we don't have the craziest overhead, but we do have. It's not even a lifestyle. It's just these are the needs of what we currently have. Right? We have 1 car, pay for that. And feeding these families.
So you get fired in May of 2024. What was the cause they gave you, and how did that go down?
They said my unwillingness to be able to participate in the brand's calls, right, was one of the reasons. My frustration and why I stopped getting on the calls was because as I talked to lawyers, they said, hey, they have a fiduciary responsibility to show you what's going on with the business on paper, even if you're not running it.
That's right.
Right. So if your calls are about day-to-day operations and I don't have any say in the day-to-day operations, and then you're telling me to not talk on the calls and that I don't have a say, and then I'm giving you notes and you're not pivoting or acting on any of it, why am I on the call? I never got a legitimate answer, right? It was, we need you on the call. And so I said, look, I'm struggling being on calls. And in hindsight, should I stayed on the call? Sure, I should have, right? But put yourself in my shoes. You're sitting here pointing out all the things that you feel are wrong or detrimental to a brand or in how you're conducting business with your 37,850 plus consigners. And I understand that you got to make changes because you guys run the ship now. But I didn't have any of these problems.
So they were able to cite insubordination because they told you to get on the calls and you didn't.
I get fired. It goes to $500,000 in product that they're telling me that they're going to take. By the time I get in there, by the time I get in there, an acknowledgement from staff, yes, this is your product. And I asked the staff, all right, well, if this is my product, I'm at a point where I have to take this product. This is my product. I need to do what I need to do for my family. And so I went in the store. I asked the staff, can you take these items and put them in this vehicle? They put them in that vehicle. And then I took the steps that I had to do to sell my personally paid items to be able to provide for my family, right? These are items that were paid for by JC Lopez or TwoJsKicks, which, yes, they also have operational say in this business, but they haven't helped me at all. They actually alienated it and kept telling me stop doing anything with this brand because it's taking away from your main brand, right? And it goes from 500,000 to now you're telling me I stole, but it's my product that I consigned.
Well, so let's get to, so now we've laid the foundation down. How does this news even break that consigners aren't getting paid out? Because that's ultimately what's brought this issue to the forefront, what's made you speak out.
It's going crazy on social media, right? Like I'm getting tagged in Facebook groups and posts, and I'm obviously, like, I have great relationship with my consigners. I'm the main guy that.
I consigned with you for a while, met you at LV store, and was a grand opening in Saudi where we chopped it up a bit. I remember sending Joni an email regarding a late payment years back, and she took care of it on the spot. The business was always solid. Something I will always remember is both times I met you at the end of the convo. You said, thank you for allowing us to make $1 with you. Could tell it was always from a good place. Wish success, nothing less. Keep up, keep pushing forward. Salutes. First and foremost, guys, we're at 186. We're really close to 200 likes. I would say thank you, guys. We got 314 in the building on YouTube. We got 13 on Twitch. Salutes everybody on Twitch. We got 3 on Kick as far as I can see right now. I want to say salutes to Stompy, salutes to Fantasy Loop, John Guapo, Andrew, all my people over on Twitch, Beertopia. Salutes to all my people on the YouTube, SG, J Rio, Chill, Shy Ill, you1 in the building, Tim C. Grails. I'm seeing all y'all in the chat. Mr. Perfect pop through this bit, Mr. Rebellis, Michael Morgan. Salutes to everybody coming through, man. I really appreciate the support on the channel and on the live streams. We're gonna keep it going, all right? Like, we're just gonna keep going. Like, why do we stop? You know, if you like the live streams, keep hitting that like button. Make me feel good. Make me feel good about going live more. All right, please. That's all. Just make me feel good about going live more. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel like you love me. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta really love me, but it makes me feel like you love the content we producing. Let's get it.
That got them involved, right? So people are hitting me up. They're like, Jay, what do I do? I'm like, listen, man, I'm very sorry. I'm not over there. But if I were you, these are the steps I would take. So if you get my attention, which I wasn't going out of my way to not get your attention or pay attention, but there's hundreds, if not thousands of times that I've had interactions over the course of 3 years of, go get your shit. Please go, because I can't help. Even now, I'm picking people up from the airport, dropping them off at the store. Go handle what you need to handle. And if you need my help, I'm the first one to help you, right? And so while that's going on, we get to 500,000 in product. And I'm like, 500,000 in product that I don't even get 500,000 in product out of this store. And they're going to say differently. I'm going to show you differently. I could show you the transactions and moves that I had to make, who I had to sell stuff to. That
John Guapo saying he needed help. Yeah, he's talking about the shoe surgeon, John Guapo. Shoe surgeon is a part owner of Urban Necessities right now, and that's who he's been in business with and causing all this issue for the past 3 years now, right? 3 years, 2022, 2023, 3 years.
That helped me, right?
We hit 200. Salutes.
I don't even remember the date of this meeting, but I do remember it's the last time that I saw Dallas, Isaac, and Dominic, all three in a room, that we're talking about the brand. Isaac is like, throughout all of this, is explaining like, yeah, man, I sympathize with you. Like, you're right. A lot of this would have never happened if we listened to you, right? More often than not, that's said to me over the phone, not through text messages, because I get it, right? And we're having a meeting at Joe's, and I'll never forget because I tried.
October 8th, 2J signs documents to walk away from Urban Necessities for $0. Yet Surgeon Worldwide again refuses to
show up early. If you tell me to be here at a certain time, I try to be there earlier than that just so I can read the room and be there and show respect, right? And I'll never forget, the three of them are sitting there, Joe's eating calamari, stuff in their face, and I sit down and I'm like,
calamari sound good, and pizza.
Look, man, I'm not here to scream, yell, argue anymore. There's been time.
I appreciate you, Chappelle. I want to say big salutes to Blake Wynn for the content. Salutes to JC for the content. Salutes to Complex. Shit, everything, man. All the messing, you know, I'm just here breaking it down with you guys and trying to give you guys some content and some breakdown and some understanding alongside with it, okay? So salutes to everybody that's been in it. Unfortunately, you know, it's at the what's the word? We are the discretion, or this content is all at the hurt of 2J's, unfortunately, but I do feel like he can't be mad at me or anybody talking about it because we're keeping it relevant. You know, we're putting more eyes on it. People are coming here watching this and they're like, I could say that he was wrong on his video pulling up, or I could say he was right, or I could say, regardless of the fact, I'm putting eyes on it and people are able to continue on with the research down the road and develop their own, you know, thoughts on it, thanks to what we're doing. Expense, yes. At the expense of 2J's. Thank you, J Rio. At the end of the day, all publicity is good publicity, and people will follow the story and are going to continue to follow the story until we hear something different. Bro, that shit sounded loud. God damn.
Times in the past where Dallas, when him and I had differences, he's basically said we could go outside and resolve this with bats. I mean, like, I'm not here for that. I still have to work with you, even if I get a good one off. You know what I mean, or vice versa. There's been times where prior to that, like when I first started having concerns, that I went to Dom and I dropped in my car and I said, hey man, I have a real problem with how business is being conducted. And Dom is replying to me, that's above my pay grade. I'm paid to look the other way, right? And I sit down and I said, I just want to hear what the offer is at this point because I really want to get out of this. And they said, here's the deal. We're going to give you $0. You're going to get nothing. You're not going to get anything back. That's it. Obviously, I was very frustrated. As you could imagine, real emotion. And I said, you guys could have saved your time. You could have told me the shit over the phone. You could have sent it over as an email, you know? And that took a couple more months. And on October 8th, I also get paperwork from them. It's the last one I signed, which was, I get my name back. I get 2J's back. Joni gets her $300,000 back if I don't bring up a stink. And in every single iteration of a contract of me being able to walk away, it's don't talk, right? And so I signed it. And then...
Did they sign it as well?
No, they did not.
So they kept sending you contracts
wasting more time
with agreements that they were paying for, that actually the business was paying for, which is probably why the business is in so much debt now. Part of it is they've racked up a lot of legal bills going through all this, but they never countersigned these agreements, so therefore they never had to act on them.
And it's cheaper to pay for lawyers than it is to have me and Joni on salary, right? And
and simultaneously, every time you do one of these agreements,
it buys more time.
You were acting according to the agreement, despite the fact the agreement never had any validity because they didn't countersign it.
So I've now 4 different lawyers, hoping to get a different answer or resolution, trying to get these guys to act. I go to the police. I go to FBI. I go to.
So, what was said on the last show, guys, that does make some sense of possibility of what shoe surgeon. Let's put it this way, right? Let's just take 2J's out the equation right now. Let's just forget about 2J's. We're only seeing 2J's. There's a whole nother person on the other side of this, and that's shoe surgeon, right? I don't know the man shoe surgeon from a can of paint. I know 2J's. In some way, I met him. But shoe surgeon, bro, like, I wouldn't trust that nigga for nothing at this point. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, he got something going on bad. He been sued by Nike. He recently settled on that. He got sued by Goyard. I don't know where that's at. And now you got this stuff going on with Urban Necessities. Let's just say, bro, like, first time shit, what is it saying? First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Or first time, shame on me. Second time, shame on you. That's what it is. But what I'm trying to say is, for some odd reason, you just leave a trail of mess. You know? You got Nike, Goyard, now Urban Necessities. Something ain't right at this point, bro. It can't be 3 back-to-backs where you just in the wrong. Or you are wronged. You feel me? He settled with Nike. We don't know what that disclosed amount is. Goyard, I don't know what that is. But what people are saying and what does make sense, and I've looked up myself, is like I stated before, because even in Urban Necessities, from what has been stated, is that they got the Urban Necessities, the brand, has opened up loans for other businesses that has nothing to do with Urban Necessities. And what we're learning here, though, is a rob Peter to pay Paul type of ordeal, where allegedly, you know, Shoe Surgeon buys these businesses. Once he has control of these businesses, he's then opening loans up within that business, using the business's credit to then take out loans, which then he utilizes that money for other businesses. So it's a pyramid scheme. It's a rob Peter to pay Paul. You know, Shoe Surgeon makes his money as Shoe Surgeon, right? He got all this money. Let's just say that. This is all alleged, but this makes sense. You make all this money being Shoe Surgeon, these classes, these customs, whatever. You start buying these other companies, and then you get sued by Nike, and you're having to spend money there, but you bought this. What you do is you buy this other company where you have no liability, and then you're taking out loans for quote-unquote other businesses and utilizing that money to then pay off that shit. And then when that gets dried up, you utilize some of the money that you bought from that first loan to then buy another company like Urban Necessities. And then when Urban Necessities opened up, you then buy a whole bunch of loans within Urban Necessities, utilizing the credit that business has accumulated. You got millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans for this company and that company, these companies you got. And now that money's coming to you. Now you're paying off the Nike stuff that you got to deal with, the loans of the other company that you took loans, you're paying that back. Like, it's just like moving money all around, like Zeta Kicks, rob Peter to pay Paul Ponzi scheme type of ordeal. That is what is being alleged here at this point. And this is like, even if this is not what's going on, this is a thing that goes on. There's people that buy their way into businesses to get operations, no liability, open up loans, take the loans, and then utilize that money for other businesses and other things. And people like TwoJs get held holding the bag, you know?
The Better Business Bureau, and I'm just at my wit's end, right? Because, like, they're telling me, look, man, we're just going to leave you alone. Do whatever you want. Go open another business, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter, right?
I'm all over the place today, bro. My words and everything. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Yes.
And yeah, did I go open another? Did I actively try to start another brand? Yes, I have. Have I been consistent with it? No, I have not, because life, right? And you know, I hear nothing from them, even though I've reached out to them a multitude of times throughout, until the beginning of this month, where they're telling me, hey, we want to file a bankruptcy. And at this point, with all the stuff that's happened, I ask a genuine question: why would I help you? I remove my emotion. I pick the phone back up. I'm like, help me understand. In helping understand, I'm being advised numbers that I don't even know how we got here. You know what I mean? And
Can you give context?
Yeah, you're telling me you got a 7-figure debt, right? And so I don't understand how you got here, because again, for 3 years, I don't log into the bank account. I don't get emails about your transactions, who you're paying out. I don't have access to consignment logs.
Now, one thing I'm going to say, let's just be honest. Let's all be honest here, guys. We talked about this before. And I'm going to ask this, and I'm going to make a poll and we'll let y'all answer. Sneaker resale is declining. Sneaker content has declined. Even my content, the viewership has declined. Maybe it's mainstream. Maybe people don't have the funds to be buying shoes every week. Maybe people have grown up and grown out. Maybe people are not watching sneaker content. They want to go watch the Kai Cenat and the Rizzing and the IRL and all that. That makes sense, and that's cool. It still, in my opinion, is a place where you can make money and make a living. It is. I still think you can make a living. I make somewhat of a living off of YouTube. I do other things as well, but this is still a big part, humongous part of my career, my life, obviously. Sneaker content is still a big thing. It's not like it's off and it's done, but it's not where it once was, and that goes for content, resale, even retail. If Nike's hurting, everybody gonna hurt, bro. Ain't no way in hell you telling me Nike hurting. Like Nike's even hurting, basically is what I'm saying. Everybody's hurting. Now I say that to say 2J's in full control, Urban Necessities been doing great, you know, for the most part. I do think though, even if 2J's had his 100% even now, he would have to make adjustments at this point. It don't matter what store you are. I feel like Urban Necessities would have to, like, I'm curious in what you guys would think if 2J's never did anything. Let's just say, you know, and I still, like I said, our prayers out to Joni, his wife. It's definitely horrible to hear that. But let's just say Joni never got cancer and Shoe Surgeon never did a deal with him. Do y'all think that in this day and age where we know how sneaker resale is, you think that Urban Necessities would be going up more, plateauing, with 2J's downsize to then like manage his profits and margins and all that? Or you think he would still be skyrocketing up? Let's ask that down below in the comment section. And this is not a 2J's only thing. Like, I don't think it's a 2J. I just think the sneaker market in general. I think the sneaker market in general is in a fucked up situation. TwoJsKicks, even them, they are doing their things. They got some good viewership. Their views have went down. Nothing, I don't think it's nothing they're doing. I just think the market is where it's at. Let me see what I'm trying to say. So they never partnered, increase in business, decrease in business, or stay the same. All right, poll is started. My question is, if you think this never would have happened, do you think UN would have increased, decreased, or stayed the same? I think that you look at a lot of these businesses that were going stupid 2-3 years ago. They've all had to kind of adjust, and I think the revenues have changed. Even in Atlanta, there's been a lot of stores that have shut down. You know, the sneaker resale game is not where it once was. Is Private Select still doing their thing? Like they were going stupid. I haven't heard of Private Select, Private Selection, or those guys seem cool though. I never met them. They seem cool dudes. Let me see. I haven't seen them in a minute though. Like I haven't seen them make any videos. Yeah, they haven't made a video in a month. They were going stupid at one point, but I know they were doing early birds and they weren't selling them. But what I'm saying, you got Common Hype, Private Select, TwoJsKicks, UN, all these things. Like we could definitely, from the sneaker resale side to the sneaker content creators like me, Bull, whatever, we've all kind of had to make an adjustment, and it's kind of evened out, plateaued a little bit. We got 63% of decrease in business, 31% is stay the same, and 8% is saying increase with 39 votes. So majority of the people are saying clearly that decrease or stay the same. And I think just the market in general. And I only am asking that is because, like, was this the inevitable? You know what I'm saying? That's my thing.
Everything, right? And so I don't understand how you got here, because again, for 3 years, I don't log into the bank account. I don't get emails about your transactions, who you're paying out. I don't have access to consignment logs. Everything, my admin's deleted. My email got deleted May 2nd of the year before, and the week after.
Yeah, and I think that like 2J's you can see an increase in business, but the way you see an increase in business is by downsizing. You have to downsize your overhead. You can't have that $50,000 a month building and only bringing in a certain amount of sales. Now with consignment, you do save yourself a lot of face because you don't have to invest in all that product. The product is being brought by the clients. You got 100 people come to your store with 5 shoes each. That's 500 shoes. So you can fill the store up easily. You don't have to go out and buy $500 yourself. So you don't need money in inventory. However, they are spending money on inventory as well. But what I'm saying is that part you can it's kind of easy, but you still got that overhead of this business. The building, the rent is the biggest thing. So the only way you can kind of fix that is by getting a smaller place and downsizing there. But you got so much money invested on the decorating of the store. Like it's a lot, you know?
After that, the following Wednesday, my personal bank accounts, the money in 4 of our personal bank accounts get seized, by the Department of Taxation for the state of Nevada, as well as the money that's in the main account for Urban Necessities. So obviously, you wake up, you got these notifications that your balances are low, but I don't have any real debt outside of my car. And so I pick up the phone, I go to the bank, I think there's got to be some sort of mistake. Like, what is this debited transaction going on? And it's like Department of Taxation. And I'm like, well, I haven't heard from anybody in the Department of Taxation. I've actually never spoken to anybody of the Department of Taxation in the history of my brand. Never have. My wife was the touch point on stuff like that. My wife was handling it. Did I have a debt with the Department of Taxation? Sure did, even before they came. Was it a number that it was at when I picked up the phone? No, it was not. There was actually a plan in place, a payment program that was paying that debt off. Almost every business has, every retail business has this liability of paying taxes. And sometimes you miss it, right? Not because you're not trying to pay it. There's just things happen, right? And we had a fine for paying a tax late, and we were paying that debt. More than half of that debt had been paid off before they came into the picture. Now, in every part of negotiating, Joni and I are advising, hey, like this is a business liability, even though it has a personal liability attached to it. For us to be able to do this deal, we need you to take ownership of this tax. Not that I'm trying to pass it off, but it's like, hey, if I'm not going to be here and it's a business that's generating the revenue that it's supposed to, well, you're going to pay it anyway. You have to pay it, right? So, and in all my contracts of walking out that I signed, that they sent, that they wrote, they're taking ownership of it. Even my one where it's 0. So the day I get fired is the day that people start having problems in collecting money. Almost instantly. So I can't help but feel...
consigners, there are consigners who've sold products dating back to last June that have not been paid at this point.
There's consigners that claim they haven't been paid in 3 years, and it came out of Isaac's mouth too. When I had
3 years.
Another meeting with them. So 2 weeks ago, my accounts get frozen. That Friday, I'm in a meeting with Isaac, Dom, and our partners from Saudi, right? And Isaac states in that meeting that there's consigners that haven't been paid in 3 years.
And where does that money go?
That's a great question.
Do you know if these 3 guys, Isaac, Dallas, and Dom, do they pay themselves salaries from the business?
I don't know.
If you were a consigner, what would you do?
If I were a consigner, the first thing I would do is I would send an email request with red receipts advising your genuine concern. If I was a consigner and I had the ability to be able to get on a plane, drive in a car, and go to the store, and whether you have 1 item, 100 items, 1,000 items, whatever the amount, anything you could get out of this store is better to get it out of this store than it getting potentially, right now, what it is inevitable. If I don't get to go back in there and fix it, or at least try to fix it, or these guys don't start paying the debts that are owed, what is inevitable is that the doors are going to have to close. And if the doors have to get closed, product is going to get seized. And then that product is eventually going to sit in a room, and then it's going to be sold for pennies on the dollar, and it's first come, first serve on who gets paid. I am very concerned for the amount of product that they claim that they have that I have no visibility on. I walked that store 4 or 5 days ago based off of what Isaac advised me was the dollar amount in inventory. I have currently no way to...
Dan said, sound like his wife was high-key bad at managing the funds. Not going to lie, laughing my ass off. I'm going to say this, bro. From what I've always heard, back when UN was doing their thing, like good, Joni was like the real mofo behind the operations. Like she was the real heart of the business. Like JC was out there doing his thing, shaking hands, but Joni was the one that was really making shit pop. I heard that she was the one that really fronted the bread. I've heard that story. I don't know if that part's true, but I just heard that she was the one that fronted it to get things popping. Like, so I can't agree with that. From what I heard that she was the one that really was making stuff pop. So I don't know. That's just all I'm gonna say to that.
To prove that that's there. It's very concerning for me.
Well, if they've been selling consignor shoes,
which they have,
and then not been paying out the consignors, which it sounds like they also have, it sounds to me like they're stealing consignors' products. Is that fair to say? Or?
I think it's a very fair assessment.
Well, they're stealing the consignor's money.
Yeah, at a minimum, they're doing that. But here's 2 things that are going on that I found out in the last week, right? I have people that are saying, hey, are these your shoes? Like, are these personally shoes that you were missing out of your stuff that you had in there? And I said, honestly, I have no track record because the email that I had all the visibility and stuff and data going and like receipts for is a deleted email, right? Because it was all business. It was This is the business email for me. But in there are items from consignors that I know this is the only possible consigner that could have this. And at no point in time did me as a brand, while I was there, say to said consigner, hey, I want to buy this on behalf of Urban Necessities? There's no need to if you've consigned it to me. Why would I buy your product? That's number one. Number two, I have other consigners that are hitting me up and say, hey, in chasing my money, in trying to get my product back, I am being offered other product as payment.
So basically other people's stuff is being offered.
I don't know, because I don't know if you took my money and bought product that you shouldn't have. And I don't know if this is product from other consigners because I don't have any visibility on that. But to me, it's head scratching because, again, I have 8 years of never doing business like that. I have 8 years of never doing business like that. Do I have 8 years of clean, honest, like never made a mistake business? No, I don't have that. Do I have 12 years of every single time there's ever been a problem with me or my brand or somebody that's representing my brand that I take accountability for and turn the camera on every single time and say, hey, I need to let you know about my mistakes before I let you know about my wins? I think you got 12 years of that. And so it's very frustrating that there's no way that I could explain this in such a watered down way that everybody could understand the severity of it, and then not take accountability. It's hard. It's impossible. I'm trying to take accountability for something, yes, that I'm black and white. I have half of the responsibility, and I want to fix it. I've spent now at this point hours on social media advising the community, even if it costs me my house, even if it costs me the roof over my head. Like, the one thing that I have to do is make sure that I at least showed the world that I made a conscious effort to try to make it right, and not run away from it.
But you're obviously not at fault, given that you've had no exposure to it and you've been removed from the business. You've been fired from.
I don't want to say I'm not at fault because, again, it was my decision to bring these people there. I am very
that part of it.
I'm very frustrated that on top of that, right? Like, I can't wait till the day the truth comes out, where some of my business practices 100% done correctly. That's for the law to decide, right? Am I trying to take accountability for things that happened under my watch?
Okay, maybe and answer this, guys. I think y'all are all going to agree with me, but maybe somebody can actually answer this. What do you mean by when the truth comes out? I feel like you've said all the truths. What's the truth at this point? If we take your word for truth, what else is there? Is there something else going on? Like, I feel like that you've said everything at that point. Which, I mean, there's 2 sides, 3 sides to every story. That one person, other person, and the truth. Now, let's just say we take everything for what you say at face value. Is there something you're holding on, or the truth?
Or not. It is for me to take ownership of. That is all I'm trying to do. And I'm going to try to, like I said, whatever I am responsible for. When we're at the register and they say, Mr. Lopez, this is what you owe, that is what I'm going to try to pay, right? I can't do that without the help of the community at this point. I can't get in there without the help of the community at this point, helping me bring awareness. Make whatever decision you want about me. Think whatever you want about me. At the end of the day, I am trying to put an end to this. I have been trying to put an end to this for the last 3 years. I got to the point where everybody's asking, well, why'd you wait 3 years?
Hey, JC, you probably don't remember me, but I'm the former Academy Director of Surgeon. I met you and Joni several times at the studio and even a couple times in Vegas. When I was putting up the customization workshop area, you spoke to me in the closet behind the customization area and told me a little bit about your story, and I got nothing but good vibes from you. I remember you hugging me and thanking me for taking care of your space. When I was setting up the workshop area at UN, right before I was told you didn't want that to happen, told you that never wanted a customization area because that's not that we were interested in. I was told you'd be on my back with every step I did to set up that area, but to just get it done. I remember feeling so conflicted, feeling like it wasn't right, but was simply just doing what I was told, but yet you were still so kind to me. My husband and I have been and will continue to pray for you and Joni in this whole situation.
I was trying to get my wife's money back. When every single time
you weren't aware of a lot of these other issues until very recently.
At all, right? And like the Department of Taxation, I'm like, dude, how did we even get here? And they're like, well, we've been trying to reach out to you. I've never got an email, a phone call, a knock on the door, a letter.
Salute to my brother Nesto, man. We got 215 likes in the building with 302 in the chat. Let's get them up, man. Keep hitting that like. Niggas, stop clapping, man. Y'all clapping too long. Hit that like button, man. Hit that like button, join up, and become a member over on the channel as well, man.
Letter, anything, right? Now these guys are sitting here saying that I've been stealing, and that I've been taking loans, but I have no problem showing you my credit history. I've never applied for a loan. I've never funded my lifestyle from a loan, right? I've always funded my lifestyle from revenue that I created from 2Js and its content and its appearances and buying, selling, and trading like every other consigner in my brand, right? And I just don't, like, I could keep giving you receipts and receipts and receipts of me digging out of my personal pocket to fund that business. And yeah, it's in that sense sloppy, right? In that sense, I shouldn't have. But I believed so much in what we had going. And I cared so much about the community that I took these steps because I knew that as long as I gave that thing a fighting chance, it would work. Because I had the community.
so many moments, so many of them I've been a part of Urban Necessities that were challenging long before.
Man, bro, you've helped me with so much.
Long before Surgeon.
You remember when you helped me move from the 250 square foot store to the 1400 square foot store? I'll never forget that night.
3 a.m. on a school night. My mom wanted to kill me. I was a freshman in high school, and me and my dear friend Matt Lamb, who's still one of my close friends, who you've known since he was also a little kid, were pushing the dollies down the hallway with the lights cut off in the Boulevard Mall, which is in a bad part of Las Vegas. Bad in the sense of its safety.
It's not what it used to be.
Bad in the part of its safety, not bad in any other way. All the travels, triumphs, you created so many things. The Keymaster, the 10% consignment rate, I never saw that anywhere in the world before you, and that was kind of how the business started. Going to SneakerCon and buying U-Haul's worth of shoes was not really a thing that anybody ever did. The unreleased Yeezys before there's so many moments that I can even think of. But then there's American Eagle, which had some ups and downs as well. How are you going to remember what you did with Urban Necessities? This was a huge chapter of your life. 30% of
it was a fourth of my life so far, and it'll probably be the rest of my life.
Why do you say that? You don't think you're at the tail end of this?
Salutes to Henry. Didn't a story like this happen with the owner of T-Rex Arms, which is on the gun side, which I didn't make a video on that, which I should have made a video on that. Honestly, should have went live about that, Henry. I didn't know, but T-Rex Arms was a little bit different for the fact that it was more, they bought him out like way in the beginning, I feel like, before it blew up as a holster company and all that, even though it's more than that. But yeah, some similarities, but I don't think it was financial issues. They're not in at all any financial issue. They're going through some family shit.
Ooh, that pussy popping on a handstand.
Salutes to Mr. Entertainment in the building.
Condolences. Praying gesture emoji. Praying gesture emoji. Chunky.
Salutes to Mr. Entertainment in the building, man. Condolences. Praying for Chunky. Praying hands for Chunky. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that, man.
I think that the PTSD that is created from the last 3 years are going to be things that are going to probably haunt me for the rest of my life. I think there's going to be a lot of moments. I have a million moments. I have more positive moments than negative, right? It's really difficult for me to walk in that mall and look that way into the direction of the brand because the last 3 years of that has not been us, and the world sees it. The comments confirm that. How do you ignore something that changed your way of life? Not the monetary side of it. The experiential side of it, like how you conduct business, how you treat people, how you interact with people, how people look at you, how people allow or don't allow. You know what I mean? Like, I'm forever indebted to the millions of people that walked in those doors, the millions of people around the world that have talked about my brand in a positive, negative light. It all created conversation. It all created awareness. All I ever asked for was to try to create a place where people from all walks of life could interact and coexist, right? We did that. And some of my business practices are best business practices. Some of my shortcomings are probably going to be put in history books. Right? And, like, I look at my life. I'm like the sneaker version of Rocky. I'm in the American Greed part of my life. And I'm either going to be Tony Stark's vibes where, like, I get a new heart and I'm kicking ass, or I'm going to be the one where his fingers get snapped and I'm gone. But at the end of the day, it gets talked about. And my participation sticker isn't going to help me pay bills. My participation sticker it's not going to have me stop working. I mean, I think everybody in the room, everybody watching the content, anybody that's reading what's going on understands I have to replenish the last 3 years and recuperating life savings that I may or may never get. Right now, if it ended today, I lose millions of dollars in properties. I've lost millions of dollars that I've had in my personal bank account. I've lost millions of dollars in other assets, and I lost a business that was worth $20 million.
Bro, it's crazy to be honest, bro. Like, imagine, like, doing something for 10 years and just not having anything to show for it, right? Like, YouTube could end today, right? And I'm no longer able to do YouTube. I still could say, damn, like, I bought my house. I was able to buy my cars. Like, there's things that I'm able to, like, look back and be like, these things, YouTube attributed to that. But to have Urban Necessities and, right now he probably got a nice house and all that, but if he ends up having to take it and sell his homes and all that, like, you did 10 years just to fall back. Like, at the same time, I think, TwoJs has mentioned he's been homeless, so I mean, he'll still end up better off. But to do all that, it's like going up in the stock market and then just crashing right back down. I think he'll be all right wherever he ends up, though.
Something that I started with $40. Do I regret it? Not one bit. Do I hate that I'm like every other athlete in a sense of, like, I just tore you know, my Achilles or ACL and I can never go do it again, maybe. Yeah, it sucks.
You don't think you have it in you to build a business like this ever again?
Oh, I'm not going to be able to sit still till I build something. This really put a fire under me. One that I thought for the last 3 years I lost. But I can't ask to build. I can't ask for support. I can't try to create until I get this addressed. This might take 1 day. This might take 6 months. This might take 10 years. I might lose my wife while this happens. While the whole entire time that this has been going on, my wife is...
Don't say that, JC. Shit, if I was Joni, be like, don't be talking about losing me, nigga. I'm staying here. If I was Joni, I'm like, hey, don't be putting that in the air. Don't put that in the air. I'm here. She definitely done made it farther than a lot of people at stage 4. Don't put that in the air.
It's like, so I'm not going to see my money. So we have to move. Like, I have to help her walk at times. I have to help her eat at times. Joni's lost so much weight. She's not sleeping. It's like, there's so many things that I have to like address and correct before I could ask the community for forgiveness and support, right? And all I want to do is take accountability.
Do you feel like you owe people an apology?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I'm on paper. I created this mess.
By bringing them in?
On paper, I created this mess. If it wasn't them, it would have been some wind gust that I wouldn't have been able to foresee. I'm not hiding from that. But I do want you to remember 8 years of business that every single time there was a flaw or some friction, accountability was there. You can't forget that. And you can't say that the behavior of my brand matches anything that you knew me for up until that point. You know, and I'm going to keep campaigning regardless of what the consequences are, whether that's defamation. I don't care at this point. I lost everything. I'm still on the cusp of losing even more. But I'm not going to lose my integrity. I'm not going to give up my principles. And I'm not going to keep fighting for the people that put me on this platform. That's it.
There are a couple of questions that people who've watched all your live streams and know what's going on have been asking. And so I want to give you a chance to answer those questions here. They came across via my Instagram story. What was the moment that made you decide to speak out publicly, given most of the damage at this point has probably already been done?
Well, the last lawyer that I paid, you know, a $20,000 retainer and one sit-down, one phone call, and 3 text messages cost me like $11,000. Basically gave it to me as clear as I possibly could understand it. He made it, he wrote it in a language that dummies could understand. And I recognized that I had nothing to lose, and I'm trying to get these guys to come back at the table. This is what it's going to take for me to get these guys in a room to actually take some acknowledgement instead of continuing to create unnecessary ass debt.
What do you think was the most costly mistake that's been made here? I know you want to keep saying it's bringing them in, so I'm going to make you choose something else.
The most costly mistake?
Let me ask you it this way.
Yes.
What do you think is the most costly mistake that they made?
The most costly mistake I made is that every single time my brand had a hardship, a strain, or a bottleneck, instead of me sitting down, slowing down because pride and ego, I would just go outside and generate more money, right? And not realizing that I should have slowed down and explained to staff in a way that they could understand the severity of why I was going in certain ways, right? You said yourself, I started spraying 10% margin. By the time I got to Caesars, I was trying to operate on 15% margin. But I was at the mercy of the willingness of my staff wanting to work. I should have corrected the processes and procedures. I should have slowed down. I should have stopped traveling for 6 months. Instead of going to trade shows, trying to, you know, shake hands and kiss babies and get more consigners, I should have just made it better for the consigners that were there in the first place. That's my biggest mistake and regret.
Is there anything that could transpire that would make you take the reins back, not just to damage control, get their consigners back, but actually recontinue UN, go back to being 2JsKicks CEO of Urban Necessities, go back to trying to scale Urban Necessities, and
yeah, there's a world where that could happen, right? But I think that there needs to be a lot of unearthing things that have been done in the dark, right?
Like what?
How much money did you really spend in 3 years compared to what you made? I mean, that's my bottom line. How much money did you spend on what you claim you spent compared to what we generated? Because that is going to tell me how good of or bad of it, or how reckless of an operator we were, right? So that's the first one. And is the damage that has been done over the last 3 years of having, you know, giraffe, you know, pricing that foot traffic has seen for 3 years, horrible communication for the last 3 years, and an inability to pay consigners over the last 3 years, is the damage so grand that I can't fix it? That's a legitimate question that I won't be able to answer until, you know, I get some real factual data from a non-biased side, right? We're going to have to get a real company in there to do this information, pull this information and understand it. And could I, you know, rally the troops and say, hey guys, I want to fix this. These are the things I'm going to need. Is there anybody that wants to help me? I'm not asking to make it somebody else's problem, but I'm pretty sure that I could create some sort of campaign that helps me get the tools I need. Whether that be raising money and I just do it myself, or somebody comes in and becomes the operator that I could only dream about, right? Like, and I'm, you know, the guy that, you know, runs the brand. There's a world that exists, but I don't, like, today, current day Jay, current situations, lack of answers, all I want to do is go in there to just give people what's left.
Do you think crimes have been committed here?
I have no way today with the information I have to prove it, but in my heart, I feel like a lot of what was done was very wrong.
Like what?
I mean,
you think that you're
from a fiduciary responsibility, you didn't report to the state the accountability that you were supposed to, which is take ownership of the brand. That's one. So now you're conducting business in a business that you shouldn't even be representing or a part of, and it should have still been mine. So yeah, I feel that's kind of criminal, right? I'm not accusing you. I'm just telling you. I feel that was kind of criminal, right? Then my money went somewhere. My money went on things that I told you not to do. My money went on things that I told you not to do that my contract states I had the authority to tell you not to do. And then you're applying for loans and not even giving me the heads up. You're being chased by the Department of Taxation. You know that I have a liability. You could have, if you had an ounce of humanity in you. Hey, Jay, like, look, we're not going to pay this bill. We can't for a multitude of reasons. But you got a real problem, personal liability. You should probably go talk to these guys and work it out. Right? You could have saved me my house. You could have saved me the last $274,000 that we had in our bank accounts. That was money we were using to pay our mortgages. That was money we're using to pay hospital bills. That was money that I was using to feed 3. I just moved my mother back out here. You know, like I'm taking care of 3 people that can't work right now.
What is the emotion that you feel?
Betrayal. Betrayal. I've worked so hard to build something for the community, to just have it taken out of my hands and just watch people just, for lack of a better term, bang the shit out of it to the point where there's nothing left. And now you're over it because you like bukkakied over this whole thing. Excuse my language, but it's like, why would I want it back? Why would I want to walk in there? That's disgusting to me, like what's happened in there. It's like inhumane what's happened in there. It really is.
Is this the kind of thing that ends up on American Greed one day?
I mean, today, yeah, I hope so. I really do hope so. And I hope that everybody pays. And I'm sure that I will have something to pay at some point. I'm not, again, running away from it. But yeah, in that meeting where I was told to walk away with 0, the one thing I said before I walked away, and I looked them all dead in the eyes, I said, this isn't right, but I guarantee you, I will be the last person you do anything like this to. And I can't help but feel that there's got to be a couple other people that have worked for me, that they got screwed, have tried to build businesses, that they were partnered with Surgeon, that they got done the same way as me, or even employees. There's employees that said, hey, I was working for free like during this, and then I got fired because they stopped paying. Like, so there's labor law issues. There's so many issues here. Like, and I'm at fault for some of it. I'm not running away from it.
So that's about it.